By the mid-1930s, Edgar Cayce had gained a loyal following as a gifted psychic. Skeptics could say he made the whole thing up, but the hundreds of verified physical readings were difficult to dispute. He was right about the crash of '29, and in 1935 predicted the Japanese would join Germany and Austria as a world threat, a bizarre idea at the time. But some readings were so astonishing that even supporters had difficulty grasping them. Cayce said the Earth's poles would shift in 1936, resulting in massive geological changes. Cayce predicted flooding would destroy cities on both coasts of North America, and new land, the sunken remnants of Atlantis, would dramatically appear off Florida by 1969.
The stuff about Atlantis was hard to verify. And it's possible that his mind slipped, that he didn't have a good filter.
I don't think this was an area of Edgar Cayce's readings that was especially fruitful or especially accurate.
Cayce had no apology for the limits of his psychic ability, why he was accurate in one instance and not in another. Though he continued to make world predictions, he never considered himself a prophet.
I don't think he was a prophet as such. I mean, he did make statements about the future, but he always said the future is not fixed. You know, we can change it.
By the early 1940s, Edgar and Gertrude had settled into a comfortable home on Lake Holly, which doubled as headquarters for the ARE, Edgar's Association for Research and Enlightenment. This is the only motion picture footage that exists of Edgar Cayce, happily playing host during the 1943 ARE membership meeting. Though thousands of Cayce's readings were transcribed, only one audio recording survives. In a reading on his own health, Cayce, a lifelong smoker, is asked if he should cut down on his smoking.
Any stimuli to expect is and moderation. Moderation would mean, for this body, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 8 smokes a day. Above this will be expected.
Cayce's own health would suffer not only from smoking, but from giving too many readings. For most of his adult years, Edgar gave 2 readings a day. That all changed with the publication of a Cayce biography by Thomas Shagrew, a friend of Cayce's son Hugh Lynn. It was titled, "There is a River," from Edgar's favorite Psalm 46.
There is a river, the streams thereof make glad the city of God. Meaning that not river, as we say, but a stream of thought, a stream of consciousness that Edgar tapped.
The book, together with an article in Coronet magazine, made Cayce a celebrity of sorts. It brought in thousands of requests for readings and some rather amusing propositions.
Men wanted to take him to Washington and Wall Street. Women wanted to take him to bed, bear his child for the good of humanity. It was never easy. June and I were posted to guard his hotel room in New York from the women admirers.
In 1943, author Harmon Brough and his fiancée June worked in Cayce's office, answering the voluminous mail.
I helped to open some of those letters, and to see the pain in them was almost staggering. It was heartbreaking.
The letters came from the terminally ill and from families looking for clues about their sons missing in action overseas. Once again, Edgar could not say no. He began giving as many as 8 readings a day, over 1,300 between June of 1943 and June of '44. Each seemed to take a little more out of the 66-year-old Cayce.
He felt like he had to help those people. He knew he couldn't do it, and yet he felt like he had to do it, I guess, and it killed him.
In August 1944, Edgar collapsed from overwork. He gave one final reading for himself. It advised rest until well or dead. The Cayces went to the mountains of Virginia to recuperate, but Edgar soon suffered a stroke. May Sinclair, a Cayce office worker, visited them and felt as others did, that Edgar belonged back at the beach.
He said to me with a tear in his voice, "Why did you come?" And I said, "I came to take you home." "Do you really mean it?" I said, "Mr. Cayce, if you want to go home, you're going to go home."
Edgar came home to Virginia Beach in November. He traveled through the autumn countryside to the shore in an ambulance arranged by son Edgar Evans. But his health never returned. On January 3, 1945, Edgar Cayce died at age 67. He was laid to rest back in Hopkinsville.
And his mother died 3 months later, on Easter morning when the sun was coming up. I think she kind of lost her reason for living after he died.
Edgar Cayce left over 14,000 documented readings on health, philosophy, religion, business, past lives, and future events. No other psychic left such an extensive record, but many feel the word psychic is inadequate when describing Edgar Cayce.
I think Mr. Cayce has given us a definition of a human being, of what a human being really is, that we truly are one, body, mind, and spirit, and that we do create our own reality.
If Edgar Cayce did what he did, there is more to us than a physical body. That immediately has implications for the age-old questions of humanity. Who are we? What's the purpose of life? What happens to us when we die? All of that.
Cayce's legacy, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, has continued to grow and attract visitors from around the world. Hundreds of books in 18 languages examine the life and work of the most renowned psychic of our time. In the end, Cayce left perhaps the most daring of challenges. He said, "I don't do anything you can't do, if you're willing to pay the price."